Hey guys, it's Mike Wagner from Cornfield Customs. For those of you that are new to the channel, I want to welcome you and thanks for checking it out. I'm going to try to do a series that I've talked about or hinted at for a while and finally just now getting a little time to do, and that is to talk more about what I have figured out works for me on the business side of things. And it's not necessarily all about accounting and necessarily making money and the logistics side and finance side of business, but little tips and tricks that I found that I've used in from other people and kind of made them my own, and things I found that worked for me. So with that said, everything I talk about isn't going to be gospel and you have to do all of these things. It's more about being able to incorporate little things, take this little bit or that little bit and get it to work in your shop and in your facility. So with that being said, in this video I want to talk a little bit about kind of the front end of the shop. There's a lot of things that go into that, especially when you're laying out your shop. So the way I laid out the front end of my shop, and by the front end I'm meaning like when you first walk in the door, what kind of greets people. So being in other people's shops around the country over the years, whether it be stopping in to visit or helping out in other shops, one thing I've noticed, especially for me, is when you walk into somebody's shop, the first thing that kind of reaches out to you is going to stick in your brain, and that goes into the first you get 30 seconds to make a good first impression, either as a person or as a facility. So that's kind of my take on things. I've walked into some shops and I've just been blown away, like instant just craziness, and it's like, this is a really cool place, and I instantly was sucked in. I wanted to be there. And then there's other places I've walked into that were the polar opposite, dirt and trash, and just not a place I'd want to hang out or especially spend money in if I was a potential client. So when I bought this facility, it was pretty much an open slate, and there's some stuff that I'm still working on 7 years later, but the big thing for me before I opened the doors for anybody to come in publicly is I wanted to get the front end and the showroom kind of under control, because the flooring was bad, the walls weren't painted, it was just drywall, so we had a lot to do with that, and I wanted to focus on making that really good first impression and getting potential clients excited, energized, and sucked into the shop to where within 10 seconds of walking through the front door, they were already interested, they were comfortable, they wanted to look around, and they could see the shop through the red wall behind me with the glass garage door. So I put a lot of thought into that, and even with the outside of the building. So my building is very unsuspecting. It's just a brick building. It's tan and brown on the outside. I have a very small shop sign out by the road. No signage on the building other than just the address itself. So that way when clients pull up, it's pretty unsuspecting. They know it's a hot rod shop, but I try not to have tons of cars sitting around outside, right out front where the clients will be. Two things. That way the building is unsuspecting to the client, and it leaves a little bit of mystery, but that also goes into not advertising for potentially bad people, thieves and that kind of stuff. So I try not to have, tons of cars and nice high-end stuff sitting out front just to get the good and the negative attention. I think a little bit of mystery with your business goes a long way. So kind of back to what I was talking about, when they walk up to the door, it's just a double glass man door, and you can see in and you can see the cars. So when you first walk in, you see the Daytona replica, you see the two-seater Indy car, there's old equipment, there's a dragster standing on the wall, lots of memorabilia, all kinds of stuff all over the place. So they get excited because they see a lot of really cool cars, a lot of neat memorabilia, and it kind of gets their juices flowing and gets the excitement to be building. And that's right when they walk through the door. So you're already potentially making a good first impression. And from there, all the walls are white except for the main wall that goes out to the shop. And I had that one painted red because everybody is always attracted to bright colors. At least that's what I found. I mean, I don't know if there's any scientific proof to that, but bright colors always seem to draw people towards them. Same thing with like red cars, yellow cars, bright blue cars. That's just what I found is people like bright, vibrant color. So I painted that wall red, and then I had a glass garage door installed. That way you can see out into the shop. So they walk in the door, they can see all the cool cars, all that stuff. Their juices are flowing, and they're automatically drawn into the shop. So then we're probably beyond our 30 seconds at that point, and hopefully we've made a good first impression. And you know, they can see everything out there, they can see the work being done, they can see the machinery, all of that, but they're still kind of confined to the showroom, so there's still plenty of stuff to look around. And we can kind of talk in here where it's quiet, it's cleaner. You know, my thought is you don't want your shop to be so clean that you can you know, eat off the floors or anything, because you are a working facility. So you want the client to know that, yeah, it's relatively neat and tidy, but we're still a working facility. You know, things are going to get dusty, things are going to get dirty, but as long as you don't have mountains of trash laying around and, you know, 2 inches of dust and just stuff all over the floor, I think that most clients or potential clients are understanding to that. So again, sticking to just kind of the front end of the shop at this point, cleanliness kind of goes along with that. You want to keep your shop, showroom, front end, whatever you want to call it, kind of neat and tidy, more so than the rest of the shop. And I kind of struggle with that sometimes because I've got a million things going on. Being a one-man shop, you know, I have to do pretty much everything. You know, I answer the phones, I write invoices, I talk to clients, I have to do the work, I have to clean the shop. Granted, my wife does come in and help me with some of the bookkeeping and help cleaning around the office and the bathrooms, but a lot of that still falls onto me. So what I try to do, and this goes beyond just keeping the front end clean, I try to break that down to a schedule. So I come in 7:30 in the mornings, and I try to do little things from when I come in till about 9 or 10 o'clock. So whether that be sweeping the floor, mopping the floor, wiping the cars down, working on YouTube videos, making sure all the trash is taken out, things are presentable inside and outside. I try to break that down to where I have a set schedule I can work on those things. So we'll just say like Mondays I come in and I sweep and mop the floors in the office. Tuesdays I can come in and I can dust and wipe the cars down and do a little bit of YouTube work. Like today I came in and I re-inventoried all our t-shirts and posters. That way I have an accurate count on our web store. And the good thing about doing all of that is if you have kind of a set routine and say from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I'm doing front end stuff, YouTube videos, calling back customers, whatever it may be that you set in your schedule. If you don't have anything for that day, say you don't have any content to edit for YouTube, or you don't have any clients to call back this day, or you're all caught up and everything looks nice, then you can just move everything forward and you can go out into the shop and you can get a couple extra hours on your client stuff. So kind of getting in that routine of keeping the front end working and tidy is always good. With COVID, I kind of fell out of the habit of doing that just because nobody was out doing anything, so I knew I wouldn't have any unsuspected clients stopping by or somebody making a short-term, you know, I'll be there in 2 hours, but I really want to talk to you about this project kind of situation. So I'm trying to get back into that routine of keeping things neat and tidy, because then it's just so much easier to not have to worry about you know, spending 2 hours getting something ready for a new client to come in, or if you have repeat clients coming in for scheduling, everything's still neat and tidy. And I think a lot of that goes into your first impressions. They do carry over. So not only are you making a good first impression of, wow, look at all this really cool stuff and look at the work, but you're showing that I care enough about appearance to keep my shop nice and clean and presentable, so you're going to transfer that over, and that's the kind of care that you're going to take to clients' projects. And as silly as that sounds, a lot of people do kind of take that into account. You know, if you have a painter come over and look at your car, or you go to the painter's house and their house is falling apart, they drive a beat up truck that's got rust holes in it, you're going to feel a little uneasy about the quality of work they do, because that's just the way we're wired as humans. You know, it's the same thing. If somebody came here and, you know, my shop was a disaster, I had trash piled up everywhere, the floor hadn't been swept in 2 years, you know, mountains of dust on everything, is that person going to be comfortable to potentially spend 6-7 figures on a car, depending on what it is? So as bad as saying appearance matters, it really does. You can carry that over to personal appearance to an extent. You know, I try to dress jeans and a button-up work shirt. I'm not real good about getting haircuts all the time, but that's something I need to work on, because appearance does matter, especially with a certain level of clientele. So I know I'm getting a little off topic there, but it all kind of ties together with good first impressions, kind of the front end of your shop, having eye candy to lure or to attract people in and get them to stay and just get them excited about their project. So I'm going to try to keep these videos relatively short and sweet and not drawn out for 15-20 minutes just kind of talking about different things. I'd rather break it up into short 5 to 10 minute mini-sodes. That way I'm not boring you to death, because I know how kind of insufferable it is to sit and listen to somebody just talk at you. So hopefully you found this kind of interesting as a little insight into how I laid the front end out of my shop. And you don't have to have a huge showroom. You could just have, a little entryway, that's got some cool art on the wall, or placards of trophies you've won, magazine articles you've been in. Or if you're just starting out and you don't want to do any of that stuff, or you don't have things you want to display, just make sure where they come into the shop is neat, tidy, and exciting when they first walk in. Like if you have a project you just finished up, make sure it's by where they first walk into your shop. That way it gets them excited to see what you do here. So again, hopefully this was helpful, somewhat beneficial, maybe a little bit of insight into how I set things up, why I set it up the way I did. And if you have any questions or comments, or you just hate these type of videos, drop it down in my comment section. That way I know what you guys want to see, and I can keep the content more catered to what you guys want to see to the best of my abilities. So I'm going to try to keep up on these kind of business side of videos. And I want to thank you guys for checking it out, for watching. Please rate, review, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on Threads. And really, hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking about all the old videos versus the new videos and what you guys want to see. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.